Mshauri careers, hanging with know.
So for an icy day, we have a spicy topic, and we're going to discuss how negative workplace politics manifest. So maybe just to start us off, let me just give a layman's example of what workplace politics is. And this is just using authority and power to influence decision making and or resource allocation. And there are some positive behaviors and some negative behaviors, but today we are going to focus more on the negative behaviors. We're going to look at what those are. We're going to talk about the consequences.
What are some of these behaviors that are typical of our workplace that has a lot of negative politics? Favoritism is one.
That's a key one, and that can manifest in a couple of things. Things around accountability. Maybe somebody is getting away with certain things, and other people are being reprimanded, or you're seeing maybe someone is being promoted, yet it has nothing to necessarily do with their performance.
Performance is subpar. Appraisal time comes and goes, and there's only just one or two people who just keep getting appraised well. That is bad behavior, very typical of negative workplace politics.
Another key one is withholding of information.
Oh, my favorite.
Ooh, you always have, that person who wants to have a leg up, and maybe in a meeting there's something key that they should have, relayed to the team. You're doing a presentation, and what ends up happening, you not knowing, ends up making you look a little bit silly up there. And they sort of throw it out there to sort of sabotage.
Yeah.
So I think it's very important to recognize that as a behavior. Map out this person as somebody who plays negative politics.
It's not normal. Another thing is a lot of gossip and spread of untruth about people. And often, this doesn't happen in meetings. Often it happens on corridors,
the lunch place,
washrooms.
A lot of those informal settings, and sometimes, as you said, it can be something small about how you dress, and then that manifests into maybe you are trying to solicit for something, and that has really nothing or any backing.
After the meeting, you find people are very quiet during meetings, and after the meeting, oh my, everyone is scrambling to grab one another and enter an empty room and just start elaborating and discussing what ought to have happened. Not normal, not good politics. Quite negative.
And as Em said, it all stems from self-awareness. We've mentioned sort of key top behaviors, but there's a myriad of others that manifest to give you that negative workplace politics environment. So understanding it and also understanding the consequences is which we're going to jump into next. What the gossiping can do, what withholding the information can do. And a lot of it can actually lead to a lot of mental distress.
It starts there. The key consequence is mental distress. Paranoia starts where you're always just suspicious. Something's going on behind your back. We've interacted with so many people who think this is normal, that the work environment is meant to be a place that makes you feel paranoid. It's not. It's a consequence of these behaviors that we've talked about. So if you constantly feel paranoid, you're definitely in a workplace that has negative politics in it. Anxiety, always when someone walks into a room, instead of you feeling positive about them, you instantly start getting a migraine, you feel irritated, Those are typical consequences of these behaviors.
And unfortunately, the end result is it can lead you to make irrational decisions.
Another consequence.
You can decide to just wake up one day and sort of just quit your job.
Done.
Willy-nilly, and
without really thinking through that,
you have like bills, you don't have another job lined up. We're in the middle of an employment crisis. And the problem is you didn't recognize that you were in a negative workplace environment.
You're just being driven to that.
So you didn't know how to manage it. So I think
So the mass resignation as an attachment to that consequence is something else that would tell you that there's negative workplace politics in play here. People are just leaving left, right, and center.
What are the scenarios? What are the situations
That trigger this behavior, that lead to these consequences.
And if you have an understanding of this, then you can understand that, we might have a situation here, and you can use this information whether you're just deciding to join an organization or even if you're in an organization. And the key one that we see is merger and acquisition.
Very, 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 very important. And this is usually coming together of two different worlds and a lot of change, heavy change and uncertainty. And now this can lead to favoritism, gossip, leading to paranoia, anxiety. So if you're in a merger and acquisition space, or you're looking for to join an organization that is amidst a merger and an acquisition, have your eyes wide open. This is what is likely to be in there.
Anytime one is competing for resources and there is sort of limited resources, this is sort of an environment that can lead to negative workplace politics.
Like poor financial performance could lead to limited resources. So if this is a publicly listed company, fortunately, or a famous one, and it's all over the news that their profits are dipping, know for sure that there's likely to be negative workplace politics in play. There will likely be a lot of gossip, a lot of favoritism, a lot of paranoia, sweeping through, a lot of people being anxious. So this is one of the things. Another one is when a new strategy has been rolled out.
And you're not included in that
people
strategy.
Were not involved.
There are some departments that are being
negative workplace politics is about to land on this place.
So you have to recognize those and not be part of it. And I think another key one that happens that is an interesting dynamic is the sort of the people who bring in the money versus the people who support those that bring in the money.
Competing departments.
So you have the sales team and IT. So IT is working,
or
48 hours,
operations,
but no bonus. But the sales team,
and
they have a
CEO
structure.
keeps talking about revenue, sales people. Your bonuses are on the line. It's definitely a dynamic
that needs to be managed, and we need to learn how to compensate, I think, sales teams and support teams in a way that's effective, because unfortunately with some of support functions it's difficult to allocate a specific number to what they're doing, as it's much easier with sales, but doesn't mean everyone is working. So I think these are just some of the things that can create this
negative
sort of
workplace politics. Yes, and be aware of them. Again, as we said, if you're interviewing, ask these questions. Understand where this business is. Is it just starting, which means there's limited resources or there's a stretch? Is it changing? Has it been just newly acquired? Is there a high performance culture? Maybe the interviewer is saying that. And now ask more about how the balance between departments and incentives is structured, just to assure yourself that the consequences of this are not there, or if they are and you accept to join, your eyes are open.
And then learn how to take care of yourself. If you find yourself in a negative workplace political situation, know when you're entering into that sort of area of anxiety and depression, and don't internalize. It's not about you. It's not that you have done anything wrong. So you have to know how to remove that and remove yourself from that ideology and realize that it is not you, but it is an environment that you're in, and also not to get involved and get sucked into the negative side. Don't be the gossiper. Don't be the sabotager. Just be the best version of yourself.
Exactly. And you should be okay.
Should be okay.
You should be fine. All right. Well, guys, take a look at all the other episodes on the channel, and we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.